Hey, it's Brewbird. In this video, we're going to In the Welsh Wind, where I'll be making my own personalized gin in our gin lab. So let's see what kind of recipe I came up with. Let's go! Today we're at In the Welsh Wind, where I got to make my own personal bottle of gin in one of the 1-liter stills in the gin lab. I've never done a gin experience before, and normally it costs £145 to do the gin making experience here, and to distill your own 700ml personal bottle of gin. So it was fun for me to try it out, for free of course. First, I went into the botanical room. I perused our huge stock of botanicals to come up with my own interesting blend. I decided it would be too boring to go with something standard like orange peels, coriander seeds, juniper berries, and cinnamon. Since I only have this one chance to make my own personalized gin, I wanted to do something a little bit more out of the ordinary. After opening and smelling a bunch of different containers, I decided to go for a Japanese cherry blossom tea blend, dried papaya slices, dried lime, Sichuan peppercorns, and pink peppercorns, and of course it wouldn't be a gin without the addition of juniper berries. I took out my botanicals and brought them out into the gin lab table to measure everything out. To make 1 liter of gin, I measured out 7.3 grams of juniper berries. They remind me of Christmas time because they smell strongly of fresh pine needles and have a fruity and peppery taste. Then I measured out 2 grams of a Japanese cherry blossom tea blend, which I'm told has a floral oil added to it to give it a stronger, sweeter cherry blossom scent. Then I measured out 4.9 grams of papaya, which I'm hoping will add a fruity and tropical note to the gin and will counter out the floral tea blend. Then I weighed out a lime segment, which turned out to be 1.7 grams. Next were the peppercorns, which I added for spice. Their weight didn't show up on the scale since they're so light, but I ended up counting out 8 pink peppercorns and 6 Sichuan peppercorns. Sichuan peppercorns are really citrusy tasting. They're often used in Asian cooking and have a numbing effect on the tongue. I wanted to see how the peppercorns would translate over in a gin. With these selection of botanicals, this would be considered a contemporary gin, since it doesn't contain a lot of the botanicals that you would associate with a classic gin. I decided to crush the peppercorns slightly with my mortar and pestle to release the flavors. Then I put everything in the still and added in 1 liter of neutral grain spirit at 46% alcohol. The neutral grain spirit is unsurprisingly neutral in flavor. It arrives at the distillery at 96% alcohol, and we dilute it down with water to 46% for use in the gin lab. I put the window and seal back on and started the still up, and I put my glass beaker under the parrot's beak and waited for it to start collecting spirit. When people come to the gin lab, we'll have a variety of botanicals already mixed and portioned out in bags for them to use and choose from, so the whole experience can proceed quicker. Lucky for me, I got to go into the botanical room to get whatever I wanted, so I had a much bigger selection and more freedom to make whatever gin I wanted to. While I'm waiting for the still to heat up, I'll put away my botanicals and clean up. I noticed the water hose that feeds into the condenser was leaking, so I tried to fix it by tightening it up with 2 spanners. It didn't fix it completely, so I'll have to see about that problem another time. I'll just wrap a towel over the leaky part for now. The spirit will travel up into the onion and then over into the condenser, where the cold temperature will cause the vapor to turn back into a liquid, so we can collect it. In our glass beaker here, it's just starting to drip out now, about 1 hour after I turned the heat on. In the initial taste test, I felt the Japanese cherry blossom tea blend was too dominant and the other flavors weren't coming through. So I think I should probably have only put in 0.5 grams of the tea instead of 2 grams and increased the amount of papaya in it. I collected about 350 milliliters and I added deionized water to it to dilute it down to 43% alcohol. Deionized water is water that is especially pure since it's been stripped of its ions through a special filtration process. I'll just pour my gin into a bottle and put the label on, and I'm done. The gin is still fresh from the distillation and will need some time to rest in the bottle for the flavors to settle. I tried my gin after letting it sit in the bottle for a week. Just like before, I thought the tea blend was too dominant and it was a little bit too perfume-like for me. I decided that I prefer a gin that's more on the fruity and citrusy side. But oh well, the point of experimentation is to see what works and what doesn't. And this time, I figured out what doesn't work for me. Anyway, I'm sure I'll find some use for this gin. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I made my own personalized gin with papaya, lime, cherry blossom tea, and a bunch of peppercorns. Please support the channel by giving this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more distilling and distillery videos. This is Brewbird sending good vibes your way. I'll see you next time.